this is one of the things that I wanted to point out earlier, is you are going to be not only performing or, entertaining the guests, you are there to also actually represent the couple. And if you're an asshole, I don't want to be associated with you.
Right. All right, we're starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yo, what's good, everyone? Welcome to the Kwentossentials podcast, where we talk about stories that shape us. And today we got something dope happening. But before we start, my name is Jonathan.
And I am Dom, and we are your hosts once again for the Kwentossential podcast.
Let's get it.
Yes, I am very, very excited today. It's such a wonderful day. I actually never thought that this would, come to fruition. And it is now happening, mga kapatid. So we have a very, very special guest with us today. I've known this person for a while now, about counting 2020, because nobody counts 2020, but let's count 2020.
Sure.
About 4 years now, since 2018. Time has flown so fast, right?
So fast, like the
so
soup.
fast. Yeah, it's too early for my Englishing to be existing, diba? But we are here now. And where do I start? This guy does it all. Man, I'm telling you, JP, I don't know where to start. So, you know what? Let's just start with this.
Okay.
Presenting our special guest. He does it all, mga kapatid. He's a voice actor. He's an event host. Okay? He is a radio DJ. He's a singer and an actor.
Wow.
Diba? So he is the total package. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Mike Acuña.
Let's go.
Hey.
We don't have any sound effects.
This is when the applause stinger or the sound effects come in, right? Like, oh man, I couldn't have done a better job myself introducing me. Jesus. Thank you, man. Hey, Dom. Hey, JP. Such an honor to be hopping on this podcast with you. This is what, episode?
Probably 6.
Who gives that?
Yeah, I stopped counting. I stopped counting after like 4.
We're just hopping online and just pumping out podcasts.
Yeah,
that's the idea, right?
Yeah.
So I'm really happy to be here. I know it's about 12 in the afternoon where you guys are at. In case our listeners did not know, and I'm hoping that they don't know. That means they're not from Canada. So
right.
It means more people are listening to Kwentossentials podcast. And this is brilliant, man. Dom, JP, congratulations on Kwentossentials.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Artwork. You guys are creative. That's without a doubt. And I think one important thing that bonds is and it's going to be a solid thing that sustains this podcast is you guys are actually friends.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I have all faith. I'm throwing in. I'm going all in on this. Like I want you guys to win. So I just really wanted you to tell you guys that right away. Congratulations, my guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate
I think that's a very important part of doing something together, is having established a relationship with that person, and becoming successful in that. Because the teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah.
Diba?
Amen.
I think that's a great motto. For those who are listening right now, Mike is actually from the Philippines. Okay.
Let's go, the motherland.
Yes. So international na tayo, pare.
All the way from the Philippines.
Ayun.
All the way from the Philippines. I've been here more than half of my life, and don't ask my age. But no, I'm not really afraid. I'm not ashamed of my age. I'm actually turning 38 this year.
Oh
hey,
man,
what's up?
Yeah, but just like you guys, the music, arts, going to like hosting events, and just having a really good disposition. I guess it keeps you grounded. It keeps you young. You know what I mean?
I believe it.
I don't feel like I'm 38. I'm still like dumb 24-year-old me. Like I'm still a dumbass. I'm still a moron.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
The past episode, I was actually telling JP. Remember this when I was before I turned 30, because I was afraid of transforming into someone while,
Transforming into a chanak or something.
exactly, baka manananggal ako or something like that. It's just like a strike of 12, you're 30, you're
Ew, ew, ew,
30. And I
Yeah.
was nervous of turning 30, and I
Yeah.
asked Mike, I was like, bro, kapatid, how did you feel, when you turned this age? And his advice was nothing.
Wow. Nothing.
It's
I
just,
mean, like, oh, okay, let's work with the context of the
Right.
of that question, because most of us have this pre-existing fear of hitting those big numbers. You're like, when you're 10, you want to be 20. When you hit
Yes.
20, you don't want to be 30. And when you're like when you're 30, I mean, I guess the next milestone is turning 40, right?
Yeah.
And what by the time that you hit 40, you're gonna say that 40 is the new 30. So
Hmm.
like it's all going, it's
Yeah.
everywhere, it's all over the place. So I think specifically for us Filipinos, there is a pre-existing fear of approaching a certain age, or those big numbers that we mentioned, because we are at very young ages asked, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And this is a big question for us Filipinos. Like, we may not have like a solid answer to that, or a solid picture in our heads to
Yeah.
answer that question. But what we do have are expectations of ourselves when we hit a certain age. We don't know
Yes.
what we're going to be. I could
Yes.
be an engineer, a teacher, a DJ, an astronaut. But one thing is for certain: I'm going to be paying taxes. I'm going to be paying bills. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
like, and also adding on to that, those expectations of yourself, growing up, as we all grew up, we as Filipinos, as Filipino kids, had solid examples to look after. Like, we had our dads, or have our dads, and you see how they provide, how solid they are as a man. Like, the OGs,
Mhm.
you know how they
Yeah,
did. They worked their asses off.
Yeah.
And while we sit in amazement watching them, it kind of scares us too. Like, shit,
Absolutely.
when it's my turn, how am I gonna do it like that?
It's true. It's
You know
true.
what I mean? So,
True.
if you that's why, one big thing that I live by is, you got to find something. You got to find yourself. You got to find something that you love to do.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to earn you money. Maybe it'll follow, because like
Mhm.
I said about the podcast while we were backstage, right? I wasn't looking to get sponsored or anything like that, or to earn money or fame. I mean, fame is the least thing that I want out of all of these things. And Dom has mentioned that I try to be a jack of all trades
Hmm.
and all that, but fame is just, I've seen what it does to people.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
I think
yeah.
we've all had, like, we've seen like those child actors in the States who, like, were really good, and then as soon as they hit a certain age where all these pressures are on them, like the
Yeah.
fame, the responsibilities of like being someone else's role model, like it gets to them and like it just tears them apart.
Right.
And I
Does.
think like you were saying too, like Mike, where it's just like at some point when you stop following what you enjoy and just kind of chase after the paycheck, like
Yeah.
you lose a part of yourself, right?
That's
And like
true.
I think me and Dom talks about it in another episode. We talk a lot, so
Yeah.
I don't remember where we talk about it, but yeah, like I think that's obviously coming from a place that I wasn't famous, so I don't really know 100%. But from what I've seen, it's just like there's
Right.
something that happens to people when we no longer focus on ourselves. Like
That's
Yes.
true.
when there's other variables around, when we become extrinsically motivated, it's just like this just disappears, and like we lose ourselves. And I think that's like really cool, and this is why, like, me and Dom wanted to do this podcast, because we wanted to share our insights, not to sound
Which is valuable.
not to sound dirty,
Right
but
away. Like, I mean, here's my, yeah, I totally agree with what you said. And a lot of people can be dismissive in this PC culture, wherein once you start talking a certain tone, like we are now,
Mhm.
people can say, ah, man, this podcast is too preachy. Like, I'm tuning out. Like, okay, then, like,
Talk.
my like, when I was starting out the podcast, people kept telling me, Wait, Mike, maybe you should stop speaking in English too much because it could alienate your listeners. And
Yeah.
it's just not. I don't think the people are just ready for something like that. Well, I
Mm,
think it's.
Huh.
I think doing what we do, we have a responsibility to push it forward.
Right.
mm.
And I mean, the easiest answer is okay. Well, they're not my target demographic. Then they're not my target
There
market.
you
Then,
go.
Mm-hmm.
but the thing is, we have a responsibility to push this craft forward. If we are to realize full accountability for, it could be our job or putting a podcast together. You
Right.
know what I mean? So if this is not, if this is not putting any strain, this is one thing I learned. If it's not putting any strain on you, it's not challenging you. If it's not
Mm,
challenging you, you're not growing.
exactly.
I
So
think it's also those expectations that, like you were saying earlier before, but now going to this type of thing that we want to express it in another way.
sure.
One of the quotes, and I love quotes. The listeners probably have been like, he's quoting and quoting and quoting. Is I watch interviews and podcasts and this and
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And one of the artists, I forgot who said it, but in this day and age of the kind of the music that they're making right now, aren't
Mhm.
you afraid that you're going to be losing or not being able to reach the people that you want to reach? And he
Mhm.
goes, I believe in what I do, and I believe in this music, and this music is classic. From
That's
the
right.
older people to the younger generation, they can relate to the music that I'm doing. So it's more in the belief that you have in what you're doing. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, there's also those the fact that you can be too much or too
Mhm.
little. So
Mhm.
if you know where you are, and if you're smart enough to know that, then
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
you're gonna be good.
And I think too, like before
Mhm.
we get like, all preachy or whatever, like for someone to find where they are, I think they need to go, what you're saying, Mike, is to struggle with it. Like try it,
That's
just
right.
go do stuff. Like I had one of the episodes that we're going to be releasing. I was talking to one of my friends and I asked him, I'm like, yo, like, why do you, like, what's an advice that you can share to someone who's trying to pursue their passion? And he's just like, just go do it. Like, what's holding you back is you, really, at the end of it. Like,
That's right.
no one's gonna always like what you do in the first time it comes out. Only
Yeah.
you do. And if you don't like it before you release it, then why are you not, like, focus on what you need to do. And if you mess up, you mess up. It is what it is at the end of the day, but you learn
Mhm.
something from it. And I think,
Right.
like, it took me a long time to realize that. I think from this group right here, just us talking, I'm the youngest. I'm 27, so it's out there now. But
Yeah. Yeah.
like, when I was growing up, no one really told me that it's necessary to fail. Like, I
Mhm.
was always
Mhm.
like, maybe I guess it's like a family pressure, like a Filipino pressure, but like there's this pressure of like, you gotta be perfect. Like at least
Yeah.
Yeah.
in my family, like I'm one of the only ones who was able to go to university. And like there was this
That's
pressure when
right.
I was in university. It was like, hey, like, oh, actually, I had cousins in the Philippines who made it to become doctors and stuff. But I was the only
Mhm.
one in Canada, like in my family, who was like, hey, you gotta make it. And I was like, this pressure of like, oh man, like if I mess up. But I realized what made me like successful wasn't like the piece of paper that they give in the graduation. It was the fact that I struggled and I overcame, and from
That's
that
it.
I gained like knowledge of myself. Like I became more self-aware, but I also became more aware of like just like what the process of growth looks like. Right. And
That's
I
right.
think like for anything, right, for any industry, there is a necessary part of struggling, right, when it comes to like acting, singing. Like you got to do auditions, and sometimes those auditions don't work out, right? But what if you're really passionate about it, you have to allow that to happen so that you can finally, I don't know, get the next role that suits you, right? So
That's right.
Exactly. It's
You
always
gotta
it's always a learning curve.
yeah.
you gotta be
Every
uncomfortable. You gotta
Mm-hmm.
learn how to live with uncomfortability.
Yeah.
speaking of that, Mike, I want to talk about how everything started for you, because now
Mm.
Mike Acuña is very known for everything that he does. All the things that,
Mm.
you know, when I introduced you and you told me, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not used to this kind of introductions. But the fact is that I'm just speaking facts. These are all things that you do, and you're amazing
Yeah.
at it. So
Thank you.
how did this all start
Start.
for you?
Mhm.
And
It
how
started.
did what was your mindset going into it?
We've ran this by each other a couple of times when we were younger. We'd have like at least five dream jobs, right? All of us wanted to be
Yeah.
lawyers and doctors and engineers and
Yeah.
architects and astronauts. And one of the main, like, because we wanted to be somebody.
Right.
And that time we were still in that generation where, you had to have a prefix to your name,
Mhm.
like a title to your name for you to be treated like somebody. And that was a goal for a lot of us and mostly a lot of our parents. But, being the young kid that I was growing up I spent a lot of time in New York. Um, you listen to hip hop and you listen to the DJs. You got Z100 in New
Hey.
York, and I remember I want to be a DJ. So it's one of those dream jobs for me. And then this was okay, let's fast forward to about 2008. Was
Mhm.
going through a bad breakup, and I read The Secret. I said, not really spiritual. I don't really believe in all of this, woo woo stuff. But I gotta read something. I gotta feed myself. All I knew was I had to feed myself positivity
Mm,
Mm.
for me
mm,
to be able to pick myself up.
mm.
And lo and behold, this book, I actually have it with me. Right, it's sitting right here. I'm looking at it.
Wow.
I went to on a whim. I had about 50 pesos to my name. On a whim, after having read this book, I started bringing it with me. And on a whim, this one night, I went to Magic 89.9. I just barged in there with the
Ah,
book.
classic
And I
radio
started
station.
list. Yeah, yeah. It's a really popular radio station here. So I walk into the door. I step into the booth, and I was watching Boys Night Out. These three guys just really cool, and they're having these really cool topics and conversations. And so when they muted the microphone, I said, "How do I apply?" Hey guys, like Sam YG, that's his name.
Mhm.
Sam, how do I? Hi, my name is Mike. I want to be a DJ. How do like what's the process? Oh yeah, yeah. Just ask that guy right there. He's our manager. So basically, I'm wrapping this up by saying I didn't get a job right away in radio because
Mhm.
especially back then, you had to have finished something along the lines of broadcasting or
Right.
mass communication, stuff like that. I did. I didn't. I think. Yeah. I was already working in the BPO space around that time. Fast forward to about 2000, I'd say 2015. Yeah, 2015, August of 2015. Uh, One of my friends, and sorry, let me paint a picture of 2015 Mike, right? 2015 Mike was always frequenting bars, not because I drink a lot, but because I perform
Okay.
at bars
Yes.
with my bandmate, si Jonks, right?
Yes. Shout out,
So
good jump.
shout out K Jonks if you ever, stop being a cheapskate and get Spotify Premium. I'm sorry. Anyway,
This is gonna be on YouTube, kapatid, sa Libre
oh
Libre.
YouTube.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
all right, all right. He's gonna be watching this with ads, that's for sure. Anyway, so I was at the bar, and then one of my friends said, "Hey, Mike, there's an audition for this station. You might want to try it out." I go there, I do my thing. Speaking English is of course an obvious edge or advantage.
Mhm.
So they said I start. Oh, sige, you start next week, huh?
Oh.
Wow.
Next week,
Just
yo,
like that. Wow.
like it's one of those things that literally land on your lap.
Mhm.
So 2015, I think it was, yeah, my first day was August 15. And on my first day, Christian Bautista comes in. So
Oh.
he's the
Oh,
guy I'll be
Christian.
interviewing.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Your
like
first day, that's crazy. Oh gosh.
on my first day, I had
That's
to learn how to
stress,
work
yo.
that board. I had to, familiarize myself with all the cue cards and the taglines for the commercials.
Yeah.
And I had to, play the songs on the clock, because if you look at, if you ever see a DJ booth, like they have this pie that looks very much like a clock,
Okay.
and then they count the quarters, right? So
Oh.
for example, top of the hour is, for example, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, so
Right.
on and so forth. From 1 o'clock to 1:15, 1 o'clock to 1:15, you should be playing currents. Currents are anything that's within the top 10 or top 40. After that, you got to play local songs or OPM songs. And after that, you can play recurrents. Recurrents are any song that was released last year up to 5, 10 to 10 years back, but still is, a good song. Like, songs by Maroon 5, you got hits by Rihanna that you can play to this day. Right. And they would be, people would still groove to it. So you had to follow that. And then I had to interview Christian Bautista on my first day.
Dang.
I was nervous, not because I was starstruck. I mean, of course, I recognize he's a great singer. He's a great performer. But, it was really more of, okay, I just knew that, all right, I'm going to fail this day. I mean, by failing, my definition of failing is not living up to my own expectations, not anybody else's. So I just talked to myself and I said, okay, I'm going to mess this up pretty good. I know that already. It's just how bad. It's a different dialogue when you can talk to yourself like that. When you allow yourself to make those decisions and on the fly, and communicate with yourself and say, okay, yeah, you know what? It's not going to be a stellar performance, but let's fail gracefully.
Right.
I like that. Let's go gracefully.
Yeah, So fast forward to 2017. At that time, I would have already interviewed a lot of celebrities. I interviewed Darren Espanto. I interviewed Gabi Alipe of Urban Dub. If you guys listen to Urban Dub, it's really big here in the Philippines.
Okay.
I interviewed the Jets. Give me one more chance to make it
brother,
real.
You interviewed Big Show. What are you talking about?
I did. I was gonna get to that, but yeah.
Big Show from WWE or WWE.
Oh, I was like,
WWE.
Big Show.
Big Show.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. It was weird because it was weird. No, sorry, it was weird for the other DJs that were queued up, because we were at the Conrad, right? It's a nice hotel. Right. Okay. So we were at the Conrad. I was there by 6:30. The call time was 7:00. Never on time, always early. So what I did the night before was I checked into a Sogo hotel.
Yon.
And that's where I did my research. I was alone. Wow. And I did my research. Sabi ko, I need to give a more unique interview. So I researched about Big Show, but then again, I ended up researching about Paul White. Paul White is Big Show.
Oh, that's his like real. Okay,
that's his real name.
Real name. Okay.
Yes. So Paul White, WIGHT. He's he was already a 7-footer at 18 years old.
Dang.
And he was when I interviewed him. Yeah, man. He played basketball back in high school. Okay. So these things came up. He played basketball back in high school, and he didn't even jump. He just had to hop and just dunk the ball.
Exactly.
Into the ring.
You don't even have
He just had to hop. And he really wanted to be a basketball player.
Mm-hmm.
But the opposing teams, all the teams that they were up against, protested against having him on the court.
He's too much.
Well, he is the Big Show. So, he turned to wrestling. And that's when he got really jacked.
Yeah.
I shook the guy's hand that morning at the Conrad. My hand disappeared, bruh.
No, I believe that, man.
It's just like
Doesn't he have
Yeah,
that
man.
Doesn't he have that move where he grabs someone's face and like his
Yeah, the chokehold. Sorry,
Yeah.
choke slam. Choke
yeah.
slam.
I was like, oh gosh.
Yeah, bro. I was like, shake it. Hey,
like-
Big Show. My name is Mike.
Where's my hand?
Like, it disappeared, bro. It disappeared. So I do the interview. Like, I ask him all these questions. Like, at the end of the day, like, I wanted to. My goal within that or for that interview is to show not just to sell a show,
Right.
because they were here. It was I think SummerSlam Philippines or something like that.
Okay.
Where John Cena was already here, but
yeah.
but he wasn't. Like they
But you couldn't
had
see him, right? You couldn't see him.
Roman Reigns, and no, I didn't see John Cena, but I
Yeah.
had tickets to that, but I didn't go.
Oh, okay.
I
that's
did.
so sad.
Sorry, I gave it to a friend. That's why.
Okay.
So yeah, it was great. Like I had a great conversation, and I was on my way out. I knew that I did a great job
Yeah.
interviewing him. It's because I was on my way out. I was like, Paul, Big Show, thank you so much for letting me interview you. That was one of the best 10 minutes of my life. That'll probably this memory will probably start flashing, what do you call it? Like flashing in my eyes, through my eyes. I'm losing my freaking preposition.
That's fine. That's all good. I don't. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. But yeah. So and then I was on my way out. They said, hey, wait, Mike. That was a really great interview. I like how unique you were. I like that you did your research. I appreciate you. Hey, next time I'm here, I hope I get interviewed by you again. Your questions actually excite me.
Wow.
Like hearing that from a guy who's 7'4".
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
and who's had
like,
so many interviews in the past.
Yes, I was not the final interview for that day. He had like 16 more people to talk to.
Wow. That's big.
Flashed before my eyes. There you go. I got it. Flashed before my eyes.
Your eyes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
That's crazy, man.
I just really had to circle back to that.
No,
I
don't
hate
worry.
it when I lose my prepositions.
Same. Same.
So,
I feel you. I feel you. That's crazy, man. So like, okay, just because you and Dom have a good connection already, so you guys know each other a lot. So I was just wondering because like you talked about like how you hosted and like all of these things. What's the hosting industry like? Because like I don't think a lot of people know what hosting is. We know that what hosting looks like, but like the industry itself, what is that?
Oh man, the hosting industry here in the Philippines.
It's
You don't
way
have that anywhere else, right? Like I mean, in Canada, you got folks like Dom, and I'm a big fan of Dom. I'm a big fan of Dom and what he does and everything he does, especially hosting and acting. My God, he is brilliant, living up to his name.
That's what's up.
The hosting industry out here is, it's you'd be surprised that when you start or when you decide to become a supplier for weddings,
Okay.
that's when you start to realize that, hey, it's kind of a free for all kind of industry. Like no one gets in your way, or there are people who are gonna try to badmouth you and stuff like that, but that's manageable. I mean, it happens in all kinds of jobs. So,
Right.
when I started just putting my head down and just focusing on my work, I started like I was really surprised with how easy it is to build your own brand out here. Everyone's trying to label themselves. You've got the angelic host, you've got the energetic host, you've got this, you got that. I didn't want to. Yeah, I really didn't want to do that in the first place. I just wanted to have my name be a brand. That was my goal. I think coming into a space like this, you can't do that in your, you can do that in your day job, but I took that same attitude and I put it here. I applied it to my work, and the hosting industry opened up for me, and I started meeting all of these coordinators. Now, this is when I think this is the part where I would possibly answer what you're asking me. The how is the hosting industry like? It's not by talking to hosts like myself.
Mm-hmm.
It's talking to coordinators.
Okay.
There is such there is always going to be a need for MCs. Number one, there's supply and demand, right? So the demand is we got weddings and a lot of events.
Mhm.
And weddings, okay, let's take away events, the product launches, the product activations, you got the New Year's Eve celebrations, the Christmas parties. Okay, that's included, right? Let's include that. The Christmas parties and weddings. What do they have in common? What they have in common is they're both mandated to be celebrated by the people
Okay.
because of because of religion, because we're Catholic, right?
Okay.
So there's always going to be people getting
Right.
married. And, I mean, there was a time when I was younger in this business, when I was like 3 or 4 years in, excuse me, I started worrying about myself because holy crap, I'm meeting this host and that host, and they're great. Like, I started being insecure, and I was saying to myself, oh shoot, I'm not the only guy in here. Like, they're all great. So it was a learning experience for me to when you're a young guy, you have a tendency to be full of yourself,
Right.
because you're having everything handed to you easy, like money that you'd earn half a for 15 days, you'd have it in one day.
One day, exactly.
One day. That's
Dang.
just one job, bro. So it's lucrative. It's a lucrative business because there is a demand. Now the supply, okay, let me rationalize this. The demand is so big that there is never enough supply. And that's why I've been doing this. I've been hosting for 13 years now. I've hosted, oh my God, I can't even count the wedding receptions that I've hosted. Couples that I've made
I'm
friends
sure.
with. The couples that I've made friends with, that's the most important. And of course, my co-suppliers. You don't get along with everybody because not
Right.
everybody's gonna like you, even if you try to like them.
Yeah, you're not
we can
everyone's cup of tea.
Right.
That's right. That's right.
Fair. That's normal. Yeah.
Right. But it's been a humbling experience.
Right.
All from the time that I started, all the way to prior to the pandemic, even through the pandemic. Like,
I'm,
the hosting industry will always stay alive in some way, shape, or form because the demand for it is basically required by our religion.
Right.
So you gotta get married at some point. So
Right.
oh, sorry, that's point number one. And just real quick, point
Uh-huh.
number two is people are still terrified of public speaking. You can have
yeah,
I see.
I've seen it happen.
I
I've seen it
remember
happen.
they
Like,
do a lot of workshops
yep, they do. They do.
for public
Like,
speaking.
and funny enough, not funny, but it's a great point of realization that when people start enrolling themselves to confidence and public speaking workshops, that's them signaling to themselves that, hey, I want to get over this fear. This is me, doing a bungee jump for the first time. This is me skydiving.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's a breakthrough moment for a lot of people, but the follow through to that workshop is another story. There are some people who walk away happy, and they're energetic. They wanna apply it right away, but then like 2-3 weeks down the road, they lose that juice.
Yeah.
So I think another really important thing is you gotta remind yourself why you did it in the first place, because it's so easy to lose track of that.
No, absolutely. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Dom.
So
I
yeah, sorry, go
guess
ahead.
even here because talking about my experience in the Philippines hosting, I hosted briefly for a couple of events, and bro, I don't know if JP has seen me work here. It's really different because here when you're a host, it's just like any other job where you're kind of not that much appreciated in a way.
You're kind of like a
Um,
filler, basically, in between acts.
exactly.
That's what it is.
That's true. That's
But-
true. It still feels that way out here.
Okay.
No, but if I guess in the Philippines, my experience was really different because you're kind of are one of the most important person in that event.
Well, that's
And
true.
we were speaking about this because you're pretty much the one who carries the event. You're gonna be there the whole night.
Okay.
You
So
know,
you're basically the one who sets the tone for like.
Exactly.
Okay. I see.
Yeah.
and even for the people who would be interacting with you, they kind of see you in a different light. You know,
That's true. That's
you're
true.
you're
You got
you're
there's a
more
switch that you turn on for that.
exactly. And I guess for my experience, I really loved it because first of all, in the Philippines, sir is a very, very common word, especially it's used in a lot of different ways and situations. Like you can call
All of them.
someone sir,
All of
sir,
them.
kamusta?
Yeah.
Or like that,
It's
but
a
you're like,
title of
sir,
endearment kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So like, sir Dom, do you need anything? And I'm like, I never have that here. It's like, do you need coffee? And I'm like, uh, uh, uh is it free?
Nice,
Sure.
right?
Yeah, sure.
Libre pa to, libre.
Like, here, yo, saan po yung coffee? Like, dun lang.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's true. Out here,
Yeah.
it's more like out here we're not interpersonal. It's kind of like, oh, you're here for a job, you do your job. That's it. You know,
Okay,
like,
yeah,
I
yeah,
feel like
yeah.
in the
Yeah.
Philippines, like obviously I only go there as a tourist, never like as a work thing. But like
Yeah.
everyone's so accommodating. Like I remember I went to
Mhm.
SM Mall, me and my bro, we were just walking, and this lady is like, "Mom, sir, do you want socks? You know, you have socks." I was like, I'm good, but thank you for offering. Like, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
You know, I come out here, right? I go to a mall,
Yeah.
whatever. I'm looking for socks, and no one's coming up to me. You know,
Yeah,
so
it's
it's
a
just kind of
different.
like, oh, I kind of feel nice because like people notice me, and I'm like, okay, that's cool. So I get you, I get you, I get you.
Yeah. Yeah. The pandering. I call it. It's really what it is. You pander to someone for them to, you know, for you to assure yourself or reassure yourself that you're establishing, establish or appealing to this guy's better nature.
Right.
So you have a good working relationship together. The mamsers, the chiefs,
Yeah.
the bro,
Yeah.
the boss. You know,
Boss,
you
boss,
got those two.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Yeah.
I think that's my favorite one.
Yeah,
Going on
bossing.
into that, going on
Yeah.
into that, because a lot of people might ask you because you're a host and you're always seen and you're somewhat famous in a way in your
Yeah.
own light. You know,
I'd say I'm a
what is-
Z-lister.
A
I'm a
Z-
Z-lister. That's what I call myself.
Okay. Okay.
I'm a Z-lister. Yeah, you know.
Hey, at least you made it in the list. That's what it
Hey,
is.
yeah.
Some
This
of
is
us,
as far as this is as far from the top 10 that I want to be.
Right.
I'm good here. I'm great.
right? But
I'm lounging
you
here, bro.
made it. You made it. That's it. That's all that matters.
Yeah,
you
made
made
it.
it into
Yeah.
the group. Yeah.
Look at me, mama.
look at me now.
I made it.
I made it.
Go.
But yeah,
So,
go
yeah,
ahead.
sorry, go ahead, Dom.
Sorry, going into that. What
Uh-huh.
is your favorite part of doing what you do?
Oh man. Oh my god. Can I do a
Because
top
I
three?
mean,
Go
there
for it.
is a top 5 or top 3 because
Yeah.
there are the obvious things that you could love being a host. You know, if
Mhm.
you like attention, you got that already.
Yeah.
If you like free food,
Of
you
course,
got
I love
that
attention. Like I'm a, of
Who
course I
doesn't?
love attention. I mean, how the hell? Wow, why the heck would I do this in the first place?
Right.
But having evolved into this form, into this 37-year-old guy who's been doing hosting for 13 years, give or take. There's always okay. Let's start with this, right? I was listening to Conan O'Brien's podcast. Conan O'Brien, right?
Yeah.
One of the best hosts of this generation in my lifetime. So he was talking to his dad, and his dad was looking at him when he was starting hosting this the late night show. He was just staring at Conan, and he said, "Oh, I get it now. I get it. You made a living off of something that should be medically attended to, something that should be medically treated."
What?
Cause you look at Conan O'Brien, it's like he has ADHD, but he's
Right.
brilliant.
Yeah.
He's a
Yes,
genius at the
his
same
mind
time.
is just like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so being that kid in front of the me growing up and imitating everything that I saw on TV, like I must have warped my voice into
Yeah, we heard a little
Ton
bit
of
of
different
that
things.
earlier. Like you did a little voice
Yeah.
acting and stuff. That's sick.
So yeah, that's one
Oh,
of the things
sorry,
that I
Mike.
can.
Not to
Yeah,
cut you off. It's not
go
just
ahead.
with hosting, by the way. It's with
Yeah,
everything that you do. So
everything that I do.
all yes, exactly.
Mhm. Okay. Kasi I compartmentalize the things that I like about each thing that I do. Like it's different for DJing, it's different for hosting,
Right.
it's different for voice acting. But for hosting, so yeah, let's start with that. Now, it was a question that was asked recently in one of the groups that I'm in. Like, what is your, like it was phrased this way: what is your favorite perk about being a wedding supplier? So a lot of
Yeah.
people said travel. A lot of people said travel.
Right.
Right? They get to go to Balisin, to Palawan, to Boracay. Well, I get to do that too. But in all honesty, I didn't even think of traveling. What I thought of were faces of the people that I worked with, the couples that I represented, and are now good friends of mine. It's not like we see each other regularly, but they're you know the saying, "Don't be a stranger."
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We are fulfilling that part of our contract. Don't be a stranger, and that is like that alone is, oh my god, like how am I going to connect with these people? If I wasn't hosting, I wouldn't have met them otherwise, right?
Right.
So it's faces that popped into mind. It's not the free gear, not the merch, not even the money, which is good, by the way. I can't lie about that. But it's faces, it's the co-suppliers, it's the couples, it's the bosses that I met, the nice people that you meet along the way. That is my favorite thing. Like, again, maybe this ties back to attention and
Wow.
me wanting to to have connection,
But
like
that's so
connection
cool
with
because like you
people.
use something that people view it as negative, right? Like, oh, like you're
Mhm.
attention seeker, oh, people pleaser kind of thing. But you
Yeah,
kind of twisted it in a way where like it not only benefits your personal whatever, your aura, your ego, whatever you want to call it, but it also
yeah.
helps people who, you know, around you, right? Like in a wedding, I
Hmm.
think one thing I appreciate about a wedding is the in betweens, like when there's transitions and someone else is kind of like filling it in, and it
That's
doesn't
right.
feel like choppy. I think that's what
Yeah,
obviously, like I'm just kind of speculating on what hosting is like, but I feel like that's what
yeah.
makes a good host is when you don't feel like it's it just moves smoothly, right? Like I've seen Dom do it a bit, and like
Yep.
it's cool. Like to me, I think that's what sets the
He's
tone,
cool.
and that's what makes the event like super cool. And I like the fact that you're able to like what you said about Conan, like do the same thing for your thing, where it's just like, I'm gonna take what I
Yeah,
know is kind of like a negative, and I'm gonna make it a positive. And I think, man, we
that's right.
should, more people should be able to do that with what they enjoy. You know?
Yeah, with what you said, being a people pleaser, and if people say that I'm a people pleaser, I'd be able to say that's right.
Yeah, because in your
That's my
industry, that's
job,
in your
right?
industry, that's what you need to do, right?
So
Yeah.
screw you. Joke's on you, buddy. I'm
Suck
getting
it,
attention.
buddy.
I don't know what the heck you're doing.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
I'm earning me. I'm earning me some bread, some dough.
Yeah. That's what's
They
People
up.
don't
still
like it.
say that.
They can go take a dump.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So like I know we're
yeah.
talking about like your best moments. What's like
Mhm.
what's like the hardest part in what you do?
Assholes.
Uh
Ooh,
You
I
still
like
get the assholes.
I like how Mike had to like let me see about what I love, and then go through it, and then be like, what do you hate? Like assholes. I
Yeah.
love
okay,
how
so
straight
what do you
to the point you
mean
were.
about these guys? Like what
You got people
specifically?
who don't have. Okay, so you got the eager beavers, right? You
Right.
got the folks who are just so happy they can't wait to get married. They're really in love. And then somewhere in that mix, you got the people who just really want to do it, and it's not even for them. What
Hmm.
do I mean by that? It's the wedding reception, the wedding itself. It's not for them.
Right.
It's actually for the people around them. It's
Yeah.
most
Yes,
likely for their
yes,
families and the parents, and
yes.
who want you. Kumbaga parang going back to expectations, I expect you to get married at this age or this approximate time of your life.
Right.
And when that time comes, like, it's no fun because you're trying to meet a goal. So when you are that person receiving that imposition from somebody,
Right.
right? I don't imagine you to be a happy person. You may have a lot of money. You can definitely pay me. You can definitely pay the co-suppliers, but you're not going to be nice about it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So you got the attitude. I explained the whole thought process
Okay.
behind these people because I've been trying to, I don't mean to be too psychoanalytical about things, but
Right.
having done this for 13 years, man, like,
You see
all right,
patterns.
you see patterns. That's right. And the thing that I love most is, that I hate most is the thing that is the opposite of the thing that I love most naturally. So I love couples who realize that kahit magkano pa, regardless of how much you spend on this wedding and how much you try to make it all nice and perfect and the food is good and the lights and sounds and all that, if you're not happy with each other, if you haven't reached that level that, hey, this woman, this man is gonna be my husband or my wife, but he's my best friend too, and more than the fact that I love him, I actually see myself liking him. I like this guy, this person. I want to live with him or her.
Right.
Very
This is
important.
you know what I mean? Because if you falling in love, we all know that fades at some point.
Yeah. Have you ever seen
know?
like a couple where you just knew that like it's not gonna work out?
All the
I give
time.
it. I give it
Oh
2 months.
man.
I give it
All
2
the
That's
time.
months.
so that's so tough. That's so tough. Cause like
All the
yeah,
time.
you would think, man, like when you get married that like this is kind of like forever. And I think, all
It
these
is.
like media stuff like Disney and all those people give us a false picture of what marriage looks like, right?
That's true. That's
Um
true.
and it's just like, man, to see that in person, like I know you've seen so many different weddings, and to be able
Mhm.
to immediately pick it out before they do, it's just like it kind of hurts a little bit, I think, for me at least,
Yeah.
right?
That's true. That's
But like
true.
kind of going
Yeah.
into like our previous question about your
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
how do you cope? Because like at the end of the day, you still got to do your job. Like how do you go
Yeah.
through the motions and still kind of perform the way you perform like 100%?
Yeah. How do you respond to the
Yeah.
situation?
Yeah. The difference between being a likable professional versus just a professional
Mm.
is when you actually enjoy when you
Hmm.
enjoy things you there's a genuine tone that you take, there's a genuine concern that you have for these people that you talk to or come in contact with, and you keep the professionalism. I just stick to when it comes to the assholes. I
Hmm.
just keep it professional. Like, I set expectations, I ask questions that that have been filtered 100% before I because I while they are assholes, it is not a wise choice for me to get on their bad side because they can drop
Hmm.
me like
Right.
log. It's just that I'll give you an example. There was a this is a tough this was a tough situation for me because um sometimes also we Filipinos, especially here in mainland, right, we have such a bias towards others that we
Yeah.
think is not on the same level as we are. So
Mm.
I speak I speak English. The couple speaks English. So you can already say that they're coming from a, what do you call this? They're coming from a particular background. You can say that, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And then there are the other co-suppliers. I think it was food and beverage and lights and sounds that we were having a round table this at the Mall of Asia, and they were obviously nice to me.
Hmm.
They were handing me food themselves.
Right.
Like, here, try this. Oh, Mike, you went to UST. So how was that like? You also played basketball? Oh, wow. So they were really, really impressed with me,
Right.
but they weren't as keen on being nice to the other suppliers, and actually they were mean.
That's
Oh.
so tough.
Oh.
That's messed up.
Like, you see the disparity in how they treat you and how
Yeah.
the others are treated. And the couple didn't know that I've worked with these folks before, and these folks were amazing.
Hmm.
uh Dom, you remember Artus 101 or High Fidelity? Those are lights and sounds guys, and
Oh yeah. Okay. Okay.
So
Ma'am,
I work with
yeah.
them all the time, and the couples don't know that. They don't know that coming in. So there was one time. Oh, sorry. It's same. We were at the same table, and this woman says, "I'm sorry. Before we begin this meeting, your nails have been bothering me. Do you clean them, please? Um, tawag doon. Can you not just show them to me? Thank you.
Wow.
I swear to God. I swear to God that happened.
What that's a
Yeah.
whole nother level of Karen. I don't know if you know what Karen
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
in
Of
you know in
course.
the
Of course.
Philippines, but man, that's messed up. That's that entitlement. Oh my gosh, my blood is boiling. Like I hate that.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
who are you? Like who
Exactly.
cares? Oh my
Exactly.
gosh.
So I had to step
Wow.
up, and I and
The
I and I said,
audacity.
Yeah.
"Yeah, I'm sorry. I mean,
How did you
you could have."
respond?
Sabi
What did you
ko,
say?
"Hey, sorry, sorry. Oh shoot, I almost said her name. Um,
It's okay. I'll bleep that out. Don't
We'll
worry.
bleep that. We'll bleep that.
no, I didn't say her name.
Okay.
As I said, hey, binulungan ko siya kasi nung time na yun, this was pre-pandemic, and I told her, hey, I'm sure you could have phrased that better. I don't mean to be bossy or anything. I mean, who
Mhm.
am I to for you to listen to? I just believe that you could have phrased that better. I think
Yes.
you kind of owe him an apology. Yeah. No, 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 no. Hayaan mo siya. I never liked them. Sabing ganun.
Oh wow. No, that's
Yo, that's
something else, man.
disrespectful,
That's
man. To
just
your own
plain
people too,
disrespectful.
man.
Yeah.
I hate
Like,
that. Oh gosh.
sorry. Yeah. So you know, it's a tricky part when you have to accept money from
Mm,
people that you don't really like,
mm.
Mm,
but you have to work with them because you are number one paid. Number two, it's not like they were assholes to you; they were assholes to the people that you know. But you know, I man, kung
But
pwede lang
I mean,
ibalik yung pera,
to
if I could
to a
only like,
to a
yeah,
degree, you because the type of person that you are, and I know you,
mm-hmm,
um, you won't take that thing because of the integrity that you hold, and
yeah,
for the people that you work with, and these people, and now that you're this person who's paying you
yeah,
is like this, is treating the people that you like, that you work with, like this. It takes a
yeah,
toll on you, and magagalit din
it
ako kung
does.
ako yun, di ba?
Yeah, yeah,
And first of all, it's unprofessional, and it's just plain disrespectful.
it is disrespectful. It's being bratty. That person
yeah.
was
Yeah.
being a brat on the spot. So
Super
what I did
entitled.
after that dinner was I let's say his name is Jay, right? As I spoke to Jay, he was the guy that this woman was being mean to. And I said, Jay, um, are you okay? Like I spoke to her. Binulungan ko siya. I whispered to her that that wasn't so nice and this and that. And Jay was really unbelievably nice about it. He said, "De sir, sanay na kami sa ganyan. We're used to this." Sorry, I'm
Mhm.
translating for the
That's fine. That's
listeners.
Wow.
fine.
No, sanay na po kami dito, sir. Tsaka, hindi po ba niya alam kung bakit madubi yung kamay namin? Kasi po, nagtatrabaho kami.
Mm.
Kasi po, ano kami talaga, puspusan ng trabaho namin. Tapos, we do our best. Alam mo naman yun, sir. Kaya nga ni-refer mo kami, di ba? Ganyan. So, parang, yeah. Kumbaga para alam nung couple na referral ko sila pero they don't know that I'm that close to them.
Right.
They thought it was just like a kind of word of mouth kind of thing.
Yeah.
But no, like these are actually my folks. These are my people. I work with them all the time. I worked with them 2 weeks ago.
Hmm.
No, but
We were in Cavite.
the crazy thing about that is nung sinabi niya na sanay na kami, sir, ibig
Oh.
sabihin
Like people.
they
Yeah.
experience this often,
Yeah.
and it's not a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, dude, they've been doing this since the 80s, man.
Yeah.
They've been
Wow.
lights and sounds. Like, they called it the mobile before.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, kami yung mobile doon sa event na yun eh. So,
Oh.
it wasn't like a lights and sounds kind of thing. It was just
Right.
mobile. Mobile
Yeah.
LNS. That's what it stood for. So, yeah, you got the Karens, you got the assholes, you got people who look down on people condescendingly.
Mhm.
So, I really have a hard time. And I think at this point, with my experience, because I was pretty young in the game. I was about 7, 8 years in, and I didn't have the balls to stand up the
Right.
way I should have. But now I dare people, I dare people to do that in front of me.
Hmm.
Like, I would give you your money back.
Yeah.
I would just,
Yeah,
no,
just
you're an
leave.
asshole. This is
Yeah.
not a one-way street where you pay me and I perform for you. No, this is a working relationship.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I express that at the very beginning of each interaction that I have with my couples, because you can be a supplier and just do your job, right? But
Mhm.
a host, an MC, this is one of the things that I wanted to point out earlier, is you are going to be not only performing or entertaining the guests, you are there to also actually represent the couple.
Hmm.
And if you're an asshole, I don't want to be associated with you.
Right.
You know,
Like they need
It's-
you, basically. They're
it's
paying you
true.
because they need
yeah.
you.
I mean,
And-
shoot, we all need we all need channels of income,
Yeah.
and that's my way. But right now, I do have I do have the compassion. I'd say that I've developed that because I've seen one too many instances that are similar to the ones that we just talked about, and I
Mhm.
just I can't stand for that anymore.
Yeah.
I won't watch. I won't just watch. Like, I'll walk out on your ass, man.
I think that's dope because like I know we're running short on time, but like I think that's dope
Are
because
we?
yeah.
A little
Oh,
bit,
okay.
yeah.
But
Okay.
I mean, it's
I
just
mean we can always do
very-
a part 2 if we need to.
Yeah, we can do that too. Yeah.
All right, fine. Well,
Yeah,
we'll end this after
bonus
and then
episode, something like that.
Right, right,
Okay,
right.
we'll do part two. We'll do part two. Yeah.
But yeah, before we cut it off real quick, I think it's necessary that we speak up because I feel like we have
It
this
is.
culture of like, oh, we're very submissive. When we go through some
Yeah.
stuff like, oh, because they're higher up, I don't want to disrespect. But man, at the end of the day, like we're all a bunch of schmucks, really. No one is
Yeah.
better than the other. Just because you have a higher title doesn't mean, and a better paycheck doesn't mean that doesn't mean that you're not human. You're
true.
still human. We have feelings too. And I think man, please, like for everyone else who's listening, if you see something, do something. And like I think
Yeah.
that's the biggest issue out here in the States and in America, and I think maybe even everywhere else. When with Asian hate, with BLM, sometimes a lot of these things happen because people stand and just watch, right?
Phones
But
out.
at the end of the day, man, like we need to do something as a community of people. Like I get it. We're separated by color, we're separated by race, we're separated by whatever. But at the end of the day, we all bleed red. We're all human. We're all people. And it's just like, man, that person you might be mistreating or you might be hurting is someone else's husband, mother, brother, whatever. And
Mhm.
to me, like, man, it gets me because I've seen what it's like to be on both sides, to be one to give and to also receive. And like having received it made me realize that, man, I shouldn't be doing these things.
Yeah.
I'm no better than these people. And so like, yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but I just
You
respect to that,
always-
man.
We're-
You pretty much just have to. I know we're running out of time. We'll do a part two, but then put yourself in someone else's shoe. Like
That's right.
see yourself in that person. Would you want to be treated that way? So it's this pretty
Brings
much
us back
that.
to
Well,
the golden rule, right?
Yeah.
the golden rule, exactly. If you don't want, I'll Google that. I'll
Do unto others what you want them
things
to do to you.
Something like
We'll
that.
we'll do it in
you don't
post.
want that
Yeah.
thing.
Should flash it. But yeah.
We'll end this on a very, very positive note. Before we hop on the next, Mike. Of course, we're gonna have you for part two. But then, where can people holler at you? Or what's your IG handle? How can people get in contact with you if they want someone to talk to? They want to host. They want you pretty much.
Yo, listen. If you got an event in Canada and you wanna fly me up there, my Facebook is facebook.com/Mike Acuña events. That's one word. And please don't use the Anya because it doesn't work. Mike Acuña events. So it's gonna be spelled like Mike Acuña events. And on Instagram, it's _ Mike Acuña.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's gonna be in
So,
the description
check out
down
that.
below. So
Yes, yes. I'm also into bikes. It's a love that I've developed recently. Bikes like motorbikes, not like Dom.
Okay. But
Dom is a
I
daredevil.
Cool.
He's a daredevil, bro.
But
Running
with
with
that,
no brakes.
but with that being said, man, thank you for coming on this episode. Everyone
thank
else
you.
listening, please come to the second episode where we're going to talk more and dig deeper into just who Mike Acuña is. I feel like
Yep.
he's so, man, just talking to you and I just met you today. I feel like, man, I can, like, as if I knew you already. Like, it's so, you have a welcoming aura to yourself. And I hope
thank
everyone,
you, man.
yeah, I hope everyone can see
I can
that.
say the same about you, brother.
Oh,
I can say the same about you.
appreciate it.
We even have the same glasses on. Like, look.
That's what's up. I don't have the same stash. I'm trying to grow the middle part like yours. But anyways, check us out on Instagram for all y'all listening. Kwentossential's podcast on YouTube as well. We're everywhere where you live stream your podcasts, Spotify, Apple Music, all that good stuff. Dom, where can they find you, bro?
You can find me on IG, on Instagram at DomZone, D0MZONE.
Yes, and you can find me at my photography page, JUSTCRZING, Just Cruising. And of course, you can find all of us on our podcast Instagram. But with that, sorry, go ahead. What?
No, yes, sir. I was just
Oh,
saying.
yes, sir. Yeah. But with that being said, thank you guys, and we'll see you guys on the next episode, part 2. Peace.